Hello, everyone. COVID-19 has undeniably altered the economic landscape, even though Indian businesses have shown resilience in the face of adversity. Businesses have continued to make varying degrees of adjustments to adapt to this changed perspective, which is now the new scenario for the foreseeable future. And hence, it's important to ensure we once again strive to lead in the new normal. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of TiE Ahmedabad, I'm extremely delighted to welcome you all to this key session, Leading in the New Normal and the launch of TiE Women. A big thank you and a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Ms. Gorsi Parekh, for kindly accepting our invitation. Members of TiE Ahmedabad Board, Ms. Anuja Parikh, TiE Women Ahmedabad Lead, Ms. Shilpa Choksi, and President, Mr. Saurabh Mehta. With this, I request Saurabh to please speak a few words.
Thank you, Piali. Thank you for the introductions. Welcome everybody to this session, first session of TiE Women. I'm very pleased to welcome you all to the session, and I'll just give you a brief background about TiE and what it does. So TiE, the full form is the Indus Entrepreneurs. It was founded in 1992 in the Silicon Valley by a group of very successful entrepreneurs, corporate executives, and professionals. And all of them are basically of India or were of India origin. It's a non-profit, and basically the idea is it's a non-profit devoted to entrepreneurs in all industries at all stages. So basically TiE has a global reach, but every local chapter has the local focus, and we look like the Ahmedabad chapter works around and in and around Ahmedabad. And basically we work around entrepreneurship and growing entrepreneurs. And all of us at TiE members or TiE members are all entrepreneurs. Each one has done something or other in their own field. And we have these 5 foundational programs: mentoring, networking, education, funding, and incubation. So we focus mostly on mentoring, networking, and funding quite a bit in Ahmedabad region. And obviously TiE has also some educational programs going on and incubation. The main thing is networking, and for networking we also have TiE has various global ideas, in the sense you can reach out globally to various members of TiE through the TiE portals. TiE also gives you an option of becoming a part of the opportunity network, which, there are about a few 100,000 professionals or CEOs across the globe, and you can reach out to them and network with them. So in times of COVID, I think TiE offers maximum amount of networking globally through digital medium. And this is one of our unique USPs of TiE, is networking through the digital medium. In addition, we also have what is something is called TiE India Angels. It's part of the TiE Global Angels, and it's an angel group across India, pan-India, and it's one of the largest angel groups in India. And you, as members of TiE, do have access to funding through that angel group. And basically, that's another part of the pillar of Ahmedabad foundation is funding. So funding, mentoring, and incubation, networking and mentoring. These are the 3 fundamental pillars of Ahmedabad. Education we do through TiE, that is a TiE University. And incubation, we tie up with all the incubation centers in and around Ahmedabad. I think Piali can tell you, we have about 15 or 20, I think 10 or 15 incubation centers whom we have networked. And we can always help you do the incubation at those centers. So in all, it is TiE is an organization which is differs from CII or FICCI or all of that, for the simple reason that we ourselves are entrepreneurs and are dedicated to helping other entrepreneurs grow in various ways. I personally have invested in about 3 or 4 companies and do help them and mentor them. So my wealth also grows along with the wealth of those companies. So similarly, there are lots of other TiE members. And that's what TiE is all about, who we just work with companies to help them grow, and we invest various ways. So that's all about TiE. And about TiE Women, I think Piali will talk a little bit more about TiE Women and what it's supposed to do. And basically, but the same principles apply there also. We are always open to new businesses and looking into our members always, everybody's looking into funding of new businesses, as there seems to be a lot of liquidity in the market, as you can see from the share market. So with that, I will hand it over back to Piali. She will introduce you to the speakers, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you, Piali. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarabhai. That was indeed quite a good introduction of what TiE does and, of course, the focus areas of TiE Ahmedabad. Coming back to the webinar and the first part of it, we will also remain live on Facebook. I'll request all participants to add their questions on the Q&A section, or if there are any other questions from the other social media, we will take them, and we will take all the questions at the concluding part of the conversation. Let me now introduce you to Anuja. Anuja is an alumnus of Boston University. She is a digital transformation leader, CEO of Intech Systems, and director of Emerdian LLC. She is also a TEDx speaker, and I'm sure many of us would have heard her at different platforms as well. So over to you, Anuja, for the interesting and exciting conversation today.
Thank you so much, Piali. And good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for joining on this sunny day. So I'm quite pleased to introduce our most respected businesswoman of Gujarat and a thought leader, Miss Gorsi Parekh. Frankly, when I spoke to her also, and I got her resume, the number of companies she's heading, that itself is quite impressive. And through this conversation, what I do want to kind of inspire is that, a lot of our women, we want a role model. We want somebody who can, guide us in pursuing our passions more with great perseverance. So I'm looking on to moderating this and learning from her what has her journey been, and how has she gone through different phases of her life and in her business, and kind of shed a little more light for young women for today. So a little bit background about Gorsi ma'am. She's the chairman and managing director of Arraycom India Limited. She's also a founder and of renowned premier institute, Ahmedabad International School, which she's founded. And she's also founded a digital online platform called Swayam Learning. And if that is not enough, she's also doing a lot of non-profit through her another institute called Nived for underprivileged community. Her contribution in all of these different aspects, especially at Arraycom, has won her different awards. Best Woman Entrepreneur Award by Nav Gujarat Business Award in 2015, as well as the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year by International Economic Council. So with that, I wanted to ask Gorsi ma'am. I know I, didn't do enough justice to your background. So if you in your words can, walk us through quickly your journey since the inception of your company at Arraycom and your contribution there, and kind of highlight some things that would be helpful to everyone.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure being here, and very, very happy that I'm one of the first speakers in the Women's Forum, and all the very best to TiE. I never knew that they're doing so much. Frankly, I'm not a very great person at networking, so I'm learning that. That's something which I need to learn. Anyway, going back to my journey has been interesting. I married my best friend from childhood. Like we were chuddy buddies. It was almost like you can't marry him. We knew him that well. I came from a background where everybody was a professional and education was very, very important. And I myself did bachelor's and master's in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So my tilt always has been towards working for the society and working towards welfare of women and children. I married him, and that was a family which was completely eating, breathing, sleeping business. And so was he. So to understand him and to understand the nitty-gritties of all that, I said that I have to get into this because otherwise, there would be a big gap between me and him, because it would be like just one-way street. I would just listen and that's it. And I was basically not that personality. So I did my bachelor's in diploma in business management from NMIMS during that time, because I had a baby and I couldn't go back to my work. I was a professor at Tata Institute of Social Science earlier, and couldn't go back because I had to look after her and all that. That was a time when I decided that now, come what may, I'm going to join him and join the company. That was a completely joint family business company where a woman coming was not even heard of. Forget about me going to the factory and being part of one of the management team. So everyone, till the date I got married and till that day when I actually started, people used to be in Ghungat. They were that traditional, and I was from a very liberal background. But I think with God's grace, my in-laws, my mother-in-law especially, has been a very, very strong feminist. So like she said, if you want to, then go and ask. My grandfather-in-law was that time heading the company. So I asked my husband, he said, go ask him, and if he allows you, then nobody can stop you. He is the last word. Nobody will say anything the minute he allows. And I went and spoke to him. I said, I need to work. I have worked all my life and I've done this, and now I think I can contribute, and I need to work, and I need to get into business. And they were heavily into something which was not technology, which was not what I was used to. They were into precious metals, and precious metal chemicals and industrial products and things like that. So, which was a very high-end stake, and again, a very strongly engineering company. So he gave me one lesson that I'll allow you to go with one condition, that for a year, you will not participate, you will observe. And you will come and you will not even discuss with anyone what you have observed. You will only discuss with me, and we will mull over it. And I think that has been my foundation of learning, because I think any good leader or anyone has to be a very, very good listener first.
Right.
And you have to really observe. And there were stalwarts of industry there who, so there, with God's grace, there was that point where all of them accepted me, because the senior most in the family had approved, so nobody could say no to me, so which became a big boon for me. And so I think family support in leadership is very, very important. Anyway, after all that, we came to Ahmedabad, and this was all in Bombay. We came to Ahmedabad. Atul started his own company, and both of us, like Arraycom was our baby in some ways. It was more of his baby, but I was always there. I was constantly there because I was trained into some of the products that we are still producing. So I was trained in DuPont, and I was trained in, even though I'm not a technical person. So that was one great boon I had, that we had a technology tie-up and they just put me straight on the floor. Learn with the workers. So I learned with the workers, and that helped me a lot. So when meanwhile, my passion always was education, and I came to Ahmedabad. Was very frustrated with the existing systems, and used to be, even while I was with the business in Bombay, I was a counselor and consultant to very good schools in Bombay. So it became very, very frustrating for me that my children will go to some of the existing schools here. Not that they were, I was unhappy about the schools per se. I was unhappy about the way in which the whole process happened and things like that. So that was one of the challenges. I said that I have to have something which is completely, truly international and local at the same time. So minute Arraycom was established and was quite well driven, I started Ahmedabad International School. But then again, minute I started Ahmedabad International School, Atul passed away. We had a very terrible accident in the factory, and I had to take over. And that was like starting from scratch. The company had nothing left, no manufacturing, no nothing at all. And yeah, that. But I had faith, and plus it was literally like a place and a company where you put in all your heart, all your dreams, everything. And Atul literally like spent his blood there. So there was, it was out of sheer conviction of mine that come what may, I'm not going to let that stop. Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on me though, because everyone said that why do you need to restart, because there was nothing at all, and why do you want to continue? You are not a technology person, especially electronics, and it's a completely ever-changing field and very heavy investments, etc., and you will not be able to cope. And suddenly, you know, that whole part of women can't be leaders. I could be there as a support system. Like till then, I was always a support system. You know, I was there, but I was never leading. And suddenly, just because I was supposed to lead, there was a no from everywhere, from each and every individual who had till then supported me. So that was the biggest challenge which I started with. But I think the team and your own faith and conviction does it.
So what would you say, like, you know, as you said, even I find that the leadership roles, especially women in the leadership roles in India, are very few. And as you said, especially in a manufacturing company, very rarely you will see. You know, we do see women in, you know, finance. You know, I'm in IT. I see, you know, in IT there are women, but manufacturing, it's definitely very rare. So. What kind of barriers have you faced, you know, in your progress and in your leadership journey? And, you know, you said, you know, conviction was, you know, one thing. What other things have kind of helped you kind of on this journey as a woman leader?
One thing for sure, that you have to go 2 steps ahead to prove yourself. Which now I'm reflecting. See, I was young that time. I was just 34 when Atul passed away. So there was this whole conviction in me that, you know, I never even thought that I was a woman. I just did it. And I knew that, okay, I have to go, I have to prove myself, even to, like, my team was amazing. My team stood by me. But they would test. They would be constantly testing. They would be checking whether I'll, like, because we deal in radars and transmitters and broadcast and receivers, and it is a very niche product line, and at the same time, no women at all in the business, and none of them had seen. Neither the suppliers nor the clients were used to dealing with a woman. So first would be that my team had to really prepare them that a woman is going to come in and sit in negotiations, which was a big very difficult thing for a lot of clients and supporters. But I think what you have to do is be very confident and prepare yourself. You will have to work hard. I think perseverance and working hard was one thing which I think became my lifestyle. It has become me, that it's something which you just have to do. Whether reading up, I must have read up all the companies in the world who are into broadcast and who are into surveillance and all their products and everything. So, and even actually going to the sites. So, which was very challenging because my children were young. They were 7 and 10, and leaving them and going and having that balance was very tough.
Right. No, I kind of relate. I think I also feel that as women, sometimes you have to work double, because when you fail, it's kind of becomes generic that, hey, it's she's a woman, will do it. When a man fails, it's just one person. But, here you kind of carry that baggage of entire gender with you, and I cannot get it. You have that inner thing, you have to prove them wrong. So that kind of...
It's unfortunate that it's not yet, I don't want to really prove them wrong, but it's just that all of us, the whole world, not only India, everyone's quite conditioned. And even women themselves are a big role to play there, because they condition their children, they condition everybody. I think women play a bigger role in not having a gender bias created in the society than men, because I think men are taught by their mothers, by their mother-in-law, by their father-in-law, or father, that, okay, you are supposed to be like this, you will lead, and the girl is supposed to be, even including my family. I'm not saying that, like my dad, I got into Columbia with full scholarship for my PhD, and he was like, you get married, I'm not going to send you.
Wow.
Even, so I think I still tell him, I used to tell him that, my God, there were, like, you had so many ifs and buts.
Right. Yeah, but on the flip side, I also feel like, when there is diversity and, when there are women around, the leadership style is different. So in your experience, like, can you point out things that women kind of bring to the table as a leader? What aspects of women are different compared to, having a more men-oriented leadership or a team?
Empathy. I think they bring in empathy and multitasking very strongly, and passion at the same time. So they bring in a lot of zest, is what I feel, that women, I like, if I see my organizations, like there is AIS, which is completely women-dominated institution, and there was Arraycom, which is completely men. So, but then I personally don't think work style-wise I was different in any of the places, or people were different. I don't think even the employees are any different. Men are the same as women. They also try to play dynamics and play roles. Probably sometimes women are more upfront than men. Sometimes men are more upfront in some ways. So those biases are not there. But I think women per se, women leaders bring in a lot of empathy and multitasking.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that. The other aspect I also feel, which is very interesting, is that I see, kind of young girls, the obviously the generation has gone by and had, a lot of things have changed. Now a lot more women are entering the workforce. We see a lot of girls kind of starting their own businesses and everything. But still, when you think and see, a lot of women kind of drop off, where, like as you said, when they have when they get married, when they have kids, kind of the burden of the society plays a lot of role in that.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give to women that, they can still continue to pursue their passion more as a strong career that can last for a longer time rather than a side hobby?
Their own faith in themselves. Because I think unless until you are very strong of yourself, everybody's going to try and see to it that you come down. And it is, you are very vulnerable. That is a time when one is very, very vulnerable. Like I was very vulnerable. There were I think I must have, even till date, I go on fighting for, like I've been constantly told that, why don't you give up Arraycom? Why do you need Arraycom? Why do you need AIS? Now it's enough. And a lot of things, but if you love working and you have dreams, you have to work towards your dreams. And another thing is that all the young girls, don't take it up as a hobby. I mean, or don't take it up as to show that, oh, I'm also working. No, it's fine. It's fine to be a homemaker, and it's great to be working also. Both ways are fine. And just, but do whatever you do with a lot of passion and with lot of perseverance is what I would want them to do. Tell them not to get bogged down. No need. And plus, having these biases. See, this is my issue with most of the women's organization and girls that don't make it into a big fuss. Just let it be. As I said, like I decided that I'm not going to feel like when I enter and I finish off, then I realize that, oh, people were a little uncomfortable because I was a woman. But that is past. I mean, because I don't feel that I'm a woman. If you go with that baggage in your mind and you work like that, you will have issues. Yeah. Otherwise, I think women are intrinsically strong to carry on both together.
Like even when I see, when I'm going to pitch to a client, they are not just going to invest in you or buy your product just because you're a woman.
Not at all.
You're at par with everybody else in the room. So you have to forget that you are a woman. You have to act like a business person. You have to act like a leader and believe in you, just like you said, believe in yourself and pursue it with the greatest passion that you have.
You should know as to what you are pitching for. Minute you are clear on your goal, I think be very, very clear on your goals and your focus. Then the young girls will not have an issue. If they are convinced, then there will not be a question asked. Minute they work so hard, like I have my daughter who's working probably harder than I am, and just looking at her working, I go on feeling that, oh my God. But then there is so much of work that they're doing that there is no question of me questioning her or anyone else questioning her.
Right. So, Gorsi, when you have accomplished so much and in very diverse fields, like you have manufacturing, you have education, you have social impact, you're doing a variety of things, and really all of them are doing exceptionally well. how do you get that hunger and motivation to keep going? Like, sometimes don't you feel like, I've achieved it all, I want to sit back? Or what makes you keep on going and, going that extra length and keep on going and achieving new heights?
Frankly, I don't know whether I've achieved, because I seriously feel that if Atul was there, it would have been a different ball game, and he would have achieved more for Arraycom than I have, or I can. And even for myself, I feel that I could have done much more, especially in Arraycom and in AIS both. That is one thing, and mainly because people might say that, oh, she's ambitious or XYZ. It's not ambition, it's just I'm a workaholic and I love working. I love having some purpose in life. I cannot, I'm bad at, that's where I said I'm bad at networking and socializing. Those are the skills I've not honed much, but yeah, I think if you really, I am an avid reader. So, and keeping pace with change is what is a must, is what I feel. So that's how I'll end up doing a lot.
Yeah. So I'm sure, like, even in this COVID, it's brought together a number of things in us, even to relook at different business models, different technologies, different ways of doing business in different areas. What are some of your thoughts? How have you cope up with this pandemic situation and still continued?
It was initially for a week or 10 days a little difficult, and one thought that maybe this is a phase which will go away. But I think we being in the technology field, and even with God's grace, even AIS was, my teachers were always very well equipped with technology. So we could adapt very easily to the new norm, and which is sometimes very tiring. Rather, I'm working more than I used to, is what I feel, because there was a time for me to go to various places, and those car rides were breaks for me. Now those breaks are not there anymore. So yeah, so to have self-discipline there is difficult. So the new norm is more self-discipline and hard work and hope. Yeah, I've connected more. Yeah, that is another thing. I have connected a lot during this time.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, like TiE wouldn't have happened if it was physical, I'm sure.
I think we are definitely getting more time to pursue other things that,
simultaneously do it. Yeah.
So, what is your greatest fear, and how do you manage that?
Fear is my greatest fear. Yeah, I've never got into a situation of thinking about fear. I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't want to fear anything. Why fear something?
Right.
Just rather take it straight head on. Yes, of course. Health is one issue where one does feel that one should be very careful, but otherwise, no fear.
I think women always, there is a lot of always talk of, doing it all, managing your family, your work, your social life, everything. So you believe women can do it all, and how have you struck the right balance between your busy professional life and your personal life?
Frankly, I've not struck a right balance. Except for family and course professional life, yes, but otherwise social life, zero.
Right.
And it is difficult. You can't do it all. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, you at least I'm not that perfect person, and would love to see a perfect person like that. Yeah, because whether it is any of the leaders, if you're dedicated in your own profession, then that profession takes up your time so much that you have then time only for your family and those responsibilities and duties. So I don't know, I don't have time for myself, which I found in COVID, which was a great blessing. Great. I mean, I realized that, okay, I do need to give time to myself and I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an important learning for women is that, I think we're always taught to be perfect, taught to, take care of other people and other things. And it's important to know that, as you said, nobody is perfect. You're doing the best you can. And I think
I would want to say one thing, because see, I mean, a lot of the young girls, I feel that they are finding that as an excuse to escape certain responsibilities also. So that shouldn't be done. I mean, because even men have those responsibilities. It's not that men don't have. I mean, everyone has. So men don't run away from those responsibilities by saying that, oh, I'm working, so I cannot be a father and I cannot do this, I cannot do that. That's not true. So I think young women or any professional should accept both the parts humbly, is what I would say, instead of having too many expectations from self, but at least be clear on your roles.
Yeah. I still remember, I think I read a quote from Indra Newley. She was promoted. She came home to give the good news. And her mother said, okay, Queen, you can keep your crown on the side. There's cooking left to be done. And that's your first.
But just do cooking.
Yeah, so I think we cannot, definitely. I think we are born with the privilege to be mothers, caretakers. We can never forget that. And have to have that balance, get it right. It'll never be perfect, but we cannot forget that also.
Right. No, and so there shouldn't be defiance in it. So I go on feeling that a lot of the girls have this defiance attitude that, oh, just because I'm a professional, I am a victim, or I'm not going to be doing this. Or, I don't endorse that.
Right. I have one last question, and then we'll open it to other questions also. I think other people have put in the chat. So my last question is that if you had to kind of go back maybe, 5-10 years, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a tough one, which I still probably would give and not approving. Don't be that empathetic a leader and that democratic a leader that your empathy is taken as sympathy and your democracy is taken as too much of liberty. Yeah. So don't get taken for granted. I did make that mistake. And paying hard for it. Somewhere I was. I think that has been my biggest weakness too. That and that probably that was there being a woman. Yeah. That was a little less aggressive. I was assertive, but there were times when I should have been aggressive, which I, as a person, am not, and as a woman leader, I should have been.
Interesting. Thank you so much. So, Piali, do you want to open it up for some questions that have come up?
Yeah, sure. There are a couple of questions here. Maybe I could ask. one of them, which is actually on the networking, and she already mentioned that that's something we probably all should be working. And we have a question here from Vinita Parekh, and the question is exactly on that. She believes that a lot of business comes about by doing the right kind of networking. Do you feel women lack these skills? And she's also asking how women can get, or probably how can they do better networking, or how can we get benefit of networking? I'm assuming she's comparing it with men and sees women not so good at this skill.
Yeah. I think one of you can answer those questions, because I'm really not very great at networking. I'm good at networking in the actual field where I have to, but overall, like, I could have been good at networking in funding, and could have grown much more, but because of lack of networking, I've done little. So I think maybe Shilpa and Saurabh, one of you can guide.
Yeah, I can. Really, I think now there are a lot of forums also that are available. I think the world has changed a lot, and I think people just have to make time, and those biases also have gone. So I think if you remove the filter that you have, is that you're a woman and you cannot network. I think there is a lot of acceptance I network a lot in my kind of areas of IT and others. So you just have to kind of make the time, make yourself available, and frankly, networking is more also of giving. The more you give, you will belong to that community even more, contribute there, and you'll be accepted. So from that, you will kind of get also some things in return. So I think what I feel is networking starts with more of kind of giving and contributing. And once you start there, a lot of things will kind of flow in its way.
Correct. Completely agree.
Shilpa, you want to add something? You are pretty good at networking. I think on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
Gorsi, great story. I think I know you since so long, but I never knew about your story. You are really courageous and passionate. Fantastic. And yeah, networking is nowadays, you can't do anything without networking. That's what I'm feeling in my field, especially. She has a different field, but networking is I think a very diverse field for different industry. So I think we should specifically which industry she's talking about, and we can communicate on that later on.
Yeah, I would just like to add a few things. Networking used to be all about meeting people, going to conferences and going to trade shows and whatever business line you are in. And women, men, it doesn't matter. And people used to, have a good this thing, listen to some of the good speakers, and then network with the speakers and other people who attended. Now it has completely changed. So now it's become very difficult to network, and that's one of the problems which a lot of people are facing. How do I network? Because physically meeting people is very important. Also very important. Now,
yeah,
physically
that
meeting
has
people,
one impact to it.
Yeah, now physically meeting people. No, I don't want to do it. I want to meet as less people as possible. So how in this scenario, what you do it? So there are networks online. Yeah, LinkedIn being one of the very simplest ones, but that's a very difficult one. But then there are places like Opportunity Network and similar networks around where you can become a member, and then your resume or your this thing is circulated to various members of the same type of same interest, business interest, and then it goes on. But for a commercial person like Shilpa or somebody who's in with this is a little bit tougher now.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're selling to the B2C, as you call it, masses, then it becomes a very little bit difficult without physical networks. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, that is very true. And this is such a all of a sudden situation. Nobody is prepared. Nobody was prepared for this. So now we are also planning to do many new things in this industry. Let's see.
But one of the biggest things I found in all of these webinars we have attended, I met so many speakers who have met me for the first time. I'm sure next year they won't remember me. But if I had met them physically, I had met them in a hotel or in a conference where we are sitting together, shake hands and this, they remember
that's a different experience, definitely.
Yeah, it's an experience. So now it's a different world, right? Yeah. I have been working remotely for the last 1996 was my first project. Where I got a remote project, software project from abroad, right? 1995-96 with a French company. But still, physical networking is there. I've been working remotely. All my clients are remote. We are working 64 countries. But still, physical networking is a must. I attend about at least 9 to 10 conferences every year.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So that's how it works. Anyway, so yeah. Any other questions, Piali? That's a couple of
Yes, sure. So there is one more question more on the women. Probably I'll take it now. This is from Sejal, and she's saying that she reads this often, and also believe that one woman should help or support other women to kind of grow. She would like, Gorsi, your thoughts about it, and if there is any example at all you have seen, or somewhere where one woman has inspired another one, and that has helped the other person to probably grow or come up.
Yeah. Well, I run a small, Seva is one of the biggest examples you can give it to her, that is completely women started and done by women. For me, my mother-in-law was a great support system. Like mentally, she was, come what may, you were going to do it. So that has been a strong support system. Another thing is that I run this organization called Nived. It's basically food for malnourished mothers and young girls and little babies. So we, and that started like in my company, there were a few young widows who came to me. They were my workers' widows, and who came to me and said that, ma'am, kaam apo. Now, all of them know that gamme te thai behan kaam api desh. And school, they were like, I hope you guys don't mind me talking in Gujarati.
No, it's fine.
They said ke amne તમે કંઈક કામ આપો અને સ્કૂલે મૂકી દો. My whole thing was કે સ્કૂલે મૂકી દઉં, કેટલા લોકોને સ્કૂલે મૂકી દઈશ, કારણ કે બહુ જ બધા આવવા માંડેલા. એટલે I have to have something where you have કંઈક જેમાં તમે કમાઓ અને સાથે સાથે આપણે સોસાયટીને કંઈક આપીએ. અને મારું the digital network platform that I run it mainly for tribal areas. So there I had gone and visited all the schools with the collector and met the children and met the women and met people in the community and seen that the malnourished people were extremely malnourished. I mean, I had told the collector that forget about giving digital education, give them food, man. I don't think anything else should be given at all. I said, how is it going to go in their head when they're almost dying there? And that had gone, so he had said that, if you will provide nutritious food, then we will get you sponsors and we'll manage something. So that's when these women started. I told them that, will you cook what I tell you to cook? And I had a few recipes myself. So made them learn that, and they make nutritious, healthy food, where I then involved a nutritionist who was a woman too. And we started a whole completely line from B2B to B2C for women. And it has become a very big project now. It's become almost like a cooperative movement. Yeah. So if you have the will, you can.
Lovely. It's really nice. So there is one question from Mr. Sudhakaran Nair, and he's sort of reflecting back on when you started with your journey. So he says that it was, you could see that, you know, the amazing grit initially when you got into the engineering and the manufacturing sector. So he's asking, where did you get your strength, especially, you know, in the time of an adversity, and that too in an industry which is like completely engineering and manufacturing. Generally, you don't hear much of, you know, women in that.
Sorry, come again. I didn't get you.
So his question is that, you know, when you initially sort of started in the engineering and the manufacturing sector, you sort of didn't kind of, you know, belong to it at that point of time. So his question is, where did you actually drive this strength from to completely get into it and, you know, just be there and lead it?
I had, I think my whole team and Arraycom as a company, it was a dream which I had to fulfill. I mean, it was something which I had conditioned myself for it. So there was no looking back. Come what may, I'll learn. Yeah. It's just that you dive into it and you start swimming. I'm basically a national swimmer from Maharashtra. So I think that grit has been there in my mind.
Yeah.
Great. And I think you already mentioned about, you know, the keeping faith and the self-discipline and learn and, you know, be a student always. I think that really helps.
If you have an option, then you will not do it. So I didn't have an option. There is just no option. I had not kept myself, I had not given myself any option. I had just decided to dive and had to. Otherwise, the company would have gone. We had a huge debt. We had huge debt. And that was another big reason where I was very clear that if I don't pass on assets to children, I don't definitely want to pass on debts. So, of course, I could have just erased those debts and said that because of the accident happened and whatever insurance comes, you take it and that's over and done with it. But that was not the dream of Atul and mine both. So, and there were a whole lot of people who were dependent on me. There were around 200 workers. Where would they go? So
I think maybe one very quick question, the last one maybe we can take. And I guess, Gorsi, we can't have anyone not asking a question on the education system. So if you would like the last one, I think this is Manisha from Hello Gujarat. Her question is, will the new education system probably sort of help us more?
what are my thoughts on the new education policy?
Sorry, overall education system. I think she's probably talking about the changes.
The new,
yes,
the new education policy is amazing. I mean, it's just too perfect. I wish, and I'm sure Modi ji will do, minute he decides to do something, he will. It is a challenging, it is very challenging because I've worked in the education field for the longest time, longer than in industry. I've been in education for almost now, what, 35 years? Yeah, 35 to 40 years. Yeah. So it is very, very tough. This, what the policy that they've come up with is similar to what Kothari Commission had recommended. And what the Finland policy is. So with our diversity and density, it is going to be challenging, but it is very, very promising, very promising. So I'm looking forward to it getting implemented, because long time this change was needed. And yeah, it'll take a while. See, any change is difficult for anyone to accept. So there are always pros and cons, and people will say, oh, it's very easy to be a critique. Very, very easy to be a critique, but very difficult to actually implement it. So I applaud the whole thing that, in these difficult times, in COVID times, they've come up with something so ambitious and so positive that, and they will, I think, I'm sure it will be successful.
Lovely. That's nice to hear and learn about that. So I think we have a couple of other questions which I can see that we have touched upon, and Anuja had sort of talked about it during the conversation. So if that is okay, I think we can leave those couple of questions. And thank you very much, Gorsiben and Anuja, both, for this very inspiring and absolutely interesting conversation. So many things came up about the various traits, about leading in the new normal. And I think this very much takes us to the direction of our talking about sort of launching this new pillar about the TiE Women in Ahmedabad. And I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce, the person who will be leading the TiE Ahmedabad Women. She is the founder and director of House of Marigold. The name needs no introduction. Shilpa Choksi. She is a gemologist who has been one of the pioneers to launch her designer jewelry watches a decade back, when it was unheard of in Ahmedabad, and carved a niche for herself. So Shilpa, over to you for telling us more about the TiE Women.
Thank you, Piali. Thank you, Gorsi, Saurabh bhai. Thank you so much. So today we are going to introduce you to Women TiE, the most recent pillar to get added to TiE globally. And I'm very happy to announce this, a women's forum to empower and engage women entrepreneurs. The focus of this forum will be to support women entrepreneurs through capacity building, increased networking, knowledge sharing, and enhancing visibility. So we will be leveraging our global footprints and building upon the rich philosophy of TiE today. We need to empower women to develop more skills and knowledge by providing mentoring and nourishing that can gradually change and trail of business by creating more revenues and jobs for our people. We would like to encourage more women to participate in this process. Women represent the greatest opportunity of our ecosystem, and we believe they have the ability to create a huge impact globally. TiE Ahmedabad has a huge scope and important role to play in building the ecosystem for women entrepreneurs of Gujarat. As the TiE Women Ahmedabad lead, I invite you all to join us and support us in this important initiative. We will create different special interest groups to include major industries, sectors, and business of Gujarat. Along with this, TiE Ahmedabad board members, I will try and bring their bright minds together with ideas focused on wide range of business aspects, fostering learning investment. Our efforts will be to inspire budding women, founders and directors to gain new heights and skill, and enable established one to build more through new connects, mentoring and partnership, and reaching out globally to TiE chapters to all over the world. We intend to introduce award to felicitate and recognize women leaders that we are going to do it this year while we are going to launch this TiE Women this time. Leaders who motivate and enable other women to become leaders and achievers in their own right. While we have already put plan together for next 12 months for TiE Ahmedabad and TiE Gujarat, and we will soon reach out to each of you today, I want to talk about the pitch competition, a global initiative by TiE. This is sector agnostic program open to all industries. We invite early stage startups with less than 3 years or growth stage startup with less than 7 years. So that is a 3 years up and 7 years down, you can calculate. To apply for this pitch competition, the winners and 3 runner-ups from this competition will attend all expenses paid 2 days boot camp, and the winner will also get the opportunity to pitch, for example, present her business, pitch for $100,000. This is a great opportunity. $100,000 prize money as the winner of global finals at TiE Global Summit in Dubai. In addition to attractive cash prizes, access to investors, sponsors, prizes, and many more. As next step, in next 2 days, we will post the application process and the form out to you all through Facebook, LinkedIn, and emailers. I invite you all to please apply for this event. There will be a subsequent events planned in Ahmedabad for all the participants of this program. Feel free to get in connect with us. If you need more information after the application is out on 6th of August. So Piyali, next maybe you can tell in detail.
Yeah.
I would like to add one thing to everybody is
Yes.
the mentoring is going to be done by everybody. And if there's an opportunity, anybody and a guy, I mean, it's not going to be women mentoring, the men and women, it's a completely this thing. And see, everybody at TiE looks at an opportunity, whether it's women or not women. If tomorrow Shilpa opens up and says, I need money, I'll put money, some money there at least, and we'll form a consortium and put money. Because any business, successful business, whether run by men or women, doesn't matter. It's the money they make and the money we can see. So it's going to be mentoring by everybody. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Perfect. No, absolutely correct, Saurabh. It's going to be efforts from everybody, and we are hoping that we will be able to kind of make a difference in every initiative that we take as part of TiE. So thank you very much, Shilpa. With this, I think it brings us to the concluding part of our event today. Once again, I would like to thank you, Gorsi Parekh, Anuja Parikh, Shilpa Choksi, Saurabh for being present here today, and it was absolutely